Hi there, welcome once again to another great episode of the Ask Lady Grace Show. Do not go anywhere, stay glued. After this quick commercial break, I'll introduce my guest and my topic. Hello, you're welcome back from that quick commercial break. Today we are going to discuss something very important and interesting that I know that you'll be interested in. And discussing with me today is Pastor Emmanuel Kwabnanuyama. Pastor Emmanuel, thank you so much that you are always available and you are ready to share with my viewers. Thank you so much for being on my show today.
Thank you for having me. It's always a great honor to be here to discuss matters that are very important to Christians and to the world at large. So I always find it to be a privilege and a great honor to be here.
I want us to discuss something very brief today, right? About how people can get back after they acknowledge or they know they have made mistakes in life, okay? And we know mistakes can happen in various aspects of life. Some people say, okay, I made a mistake in dating this person, or I wanted to do this business, but I made a mistake. I'm not good. I should have done this, I should have done that, or in choosing a career, or in choosing even a university education. Mistakes can happen in various aspects of our lives. But the question is, now when someone notices that the person has made a mistake, what should the person do?
Let me start with the understanding of mistakes.
Okay.
Right. We are human. We make mistakes. I mean, there's something we hear all the time. And mostly when we say we make mistakes, what we mean is that we do things that we sometimes don't intend to do.
Okay.
It's not something, not because we didn't do it, we did it, but we didn't intend to do that. Like if you are writing and you want to write Akusua and then you write Ama, your intention is that you were writing Akusua, but you wrote Ama. So you've made a mistake.
Yes.
Right. But then sometimes it is also not that we did not intend to do it.
Okay, yeah. Sometimes
we actually intended to do that, except that the result is not what we imagined or what we wanted. So when we talk about mistake, we are talking about something that we do that we don't intend to do, or something that we do that produces a result that we don't want.
Yeah, okay.
And that's where sometimes the confusion is, because a woman can be marrying a man. A man is a good man. It's not a mistake. Until the marriage does not work out. Then it becomes a mistake to her.
I made a mistake.
So I made a mistake. When did you make a mistake? When you were enjoying all the outing or the party, you know, all those times, no. We were not making mistakes. When we were having the night conversations, you know, the outing, those were no mistakes. When we were enjoying the moment, those were no mistakes. But if there is pregnancy that they didn't want, immediately it becomes a mistake. If the marriage didn't work out, it becomes a mistake. If the relationship doesn't work out, it becomes a mistake. So mostly when people talk about, even business, you never can tell how a business can go until the business does not work out.
You make a lot of profit. You say, that's my breakthrough.
Exactly. You say, I didn't know that this could be, you know, some people will come and even give testimony. At church because it worked out, right? So mostly when people say something is a mistake, it's just because not the first part where they did not intend, but mostly it's just because the result was not what they wanted or what they expected. And it's natural for when things don't go the way you wanted it to go or you expected it to go, for you to feel down, and for you to feel broken. And sometimes you can be very frustrated. It's very natural because you are disappointed, you know, and it affects your emotions. So you realize that some women will now be heartbroken. They keep crying and all of those kind of things. I said, this was a mistake. I should never have. Some people even curse the men. Some people will say the men are fools. All those kind of things. Some people will say all kinds of things. Some people, women, some men also do the same thing to women and say, oh, then you didn't even, you were not good, you were this, and all those stupid.
I think that maybe at that point they are acknowledging some red flags that they previously saw. I mean.
Yes, of course. But then I don't think they are acknowledging the red flags. It just didn't go according to plan. They are disappointed because it didn't happen
the way they wanted.
They wanted. And that is why this conversation is important, because when you understand this, that sometimes some things will not always go according to how you plan them to go, it frees you from the habit of always blaming yourself. And always being hard on yourself. I have seen far too many people always blaming themselves for things. You know, maybe I would have been with this guy, or I would have been with this girl, but I did this. If not for this thing, if not for that. No. Life is such a way that the things that you see as a blessing today can end in a way tomorrow that you just did not expect. And you would have given your all. It's like you've married, you have given birth to children, and all of a sudden the guy is doing things that, or the woman is doing something that you don't think you can stay with the person. All of a sudden the marriage becomes a mistake. But the marriage was not the mistake. It's the outcome that is not going the way you want. And that is why you think is a mistake. So I always say this, that the outcome of situations, or what we see in situations, the way we see them, whether we see them as problems, whether we see them as bad, whether we see them as good, whether we see them as an opportunity, or whether we see them as even a learning experience, will determine whether the thing is a mistake or not.
That's true.
So people who have a growth mindset are people who mostly see situations differently from the way others see them. They always look at, whoa, okay, we didn't get this outcome. Why did we not get this outcome? So they're always concerned about why we didn't get that outcome and how we can make it better. And how we can actually make sure that the next time we are getting a better outcome. And this is something that will help you if you're a worker, or if you're a manager, or you're a leader, or you're a boss. You always have to understand that things will not always go the way you want it to go. And when things don't go the way you want it to go, that is not the time to blame yourself. Of course, you can acknowledge, or you should acknowledge, that maybe we didn't do something, or maybe we did something, or maybe it's not our fault, or maybe it's their fault. You can acknowledge all of that. But this is one of the things you should not do. Don't blame others.
Don't blame others.
That's the first thing I would say. In acknowledging the situation, don't blame others. Of course, you can, in acknowledging it, you can actually find your responsibility or your role in that happening. But never ever blame others, because when you blame others, what you are doing is that you are actually saying that they made it happen, and you were not part of it. You know, and the moment you say they made it happen, you give them the power to affect or influence how you feel. I don't know whether you get what I'm trying to say. Because the moment you say they made it happen, and you were not part of it, what will happen is that you have given them the power to be able to influence the way you feel, the way you live.
That's true.
So a typical example. When a woman thinks it's the guy who did A, B, C, D. And she didn't do anything. And sometimes she could be right. She probably didn't do anything. Maybe all that she did was to love the person.
Yeah.
But so far as she's not seeing that maybe breakup as a learning opportunity for her, maybe in the light of next time making sure that she knows who she's going into or she's trusting or she's giving her heart to. And she takes herself out of that, you know, and blames the guy. What happens is that she will continue to look at the guy and look at what the guy is doing and how the guy is living. And sometimes when he sees that the guy is happy. The guy is moving on, the guy is now, you know, having it all together. For some people even, it gets worse when the guy is married. It's like, I mean, I did all this for you and you did all of that. And then and they think because it's the guy who did it, why is he happy? Because you've never really sat down to see your responsibility in it, and you are not learning from it. You know, you are really not learning from it, and that's the main reason why you are still in that place. So, but that does not mean that you will not feel hurt. It doesn't mean disappointment always comes with hurt. You know, disappointment always comes with her. That's why I said it's not necessarily the mistake in terms of you didn't know it, but it's just because the outcome is not what you expected. And that is the main reason why you are disappointed, and that's why you are hurt, and that's why you feel broken. But if the outcome is not what you expected, what do you have to do? That's what this is about, right? What do you have to do? You need to be able to sit yourself down. And you need to be able to understand the situation by acknowledging your role in it. Making sure you are not blaming other people and trying to learn from it. What do I need to do better next time? Maybe next time I need to understand the kind of guy that I trust. Sometimes you probably will have to think about yourself in light of the things that you look out for in a man. You know, all of that are important. And when you have learned what you need to learn, it will make you a better person. And because it is now making you a better person, you need to stop being hard on yourself. Because until your mind feels like I have gained from it, you are always going to feel hurt.
And defeated.
Exactly. You know, and so you need to be able to gain from it. Gain from that experience. Because for many young people, the reason why they are in that state is because they feel like they have not gained. They have lost. And so far as you think you have lost, you're always going to feel pain and hurt and disappointed. Sometimes
it's the kind of things, you know, they lose. Some people lose even their children. Like they kind of, let's say in quotes, aborted for the guy. Some people lost their money in the process. Some people, you know, people even give up properties for certain things. So that's where the challenge is. You know, they really lost something. Like, they lost something in that process. So
that's what I said. Like, of course, but then again, think about, let me use relationship in this aspect, or even a work. Maybe you have an assignment or you're a boss. Let me start with a relationship. You are dating a guy. You probably were just experimenting. I mean, when I say experimenting, you didn't even understand love. You just went into it. You made that decision and you went into it. Then later on, you realize that you woke up in the morning just to find out that your Prince Charming is nothing but a common frog. Now you are disappointed. You are hurt. Now think really about it. Maybe you've given him everything. Everything you have. That's painful. That disappointment is going to hurt you. It's you know, that hurt is your body's way of telling you that I'm disappointed.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
And I'm disappointed is not that I'm disappointed in something, but it's your own body's way or your brain or your mind's way of telling you I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why sometimes they feel broken because they feel, some people if they're not good enough.
Yeah.
It's a mental thing. It's their own way psychologically of thinking I'm disappointed in you. I mean, of course, that's not what you're hearing, but
Yeah.
it's a feeling. It's a feeling of what did I not do right? You know, why, and all those kind of things, because you're trying to find out why you got into that. But you can also beat your brain or your mind in that aspect of making your mind see what you gained.
Okay. So your mind should focus on the gain.
Because you see, your mind thinks you have lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why it's feeling hurt and disappointed.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do in that situation? Because you feel you are lost, you've lost, and nobody, I mean, no matter what people tell you, you still feel. That's why mostly, look at something, whenever you see maybe the lady going out with another guy, you feel it's not even going to work. Yeah. You feel jealous, you feel, because you still feel, you feel like you've lost something. You feel, that's why some people even go back to their exes, because their body still feels like they've lost something. That sometimes they wish they will have it back, or they wish that thing never went away. But it's not everybody that goes into that situation that feels hurt. Yeah. And the people who never feel hurt are people who don't think they lost. Okay. Even if they did. They begin to focus on what they gained, instead of what they lost. And of course, if you have to think about what you are gaining in terms of the material stuff, you're going to say, hey, he never even bought me a pant. Yes. so that you know, sometimes you're never even going to find
maybe you are the one who was feeding himself.
You know, maybe you are the one who he was always taking from you and enjoying from you. So that's never going to happen. But when you look at gain in terms of one, experience, in terms of knowledge, and in terms of your future, it changes everything. Imagine that guy now was married to you, and imagine he still behaved that way.
That way, yeah.
Just imagine. Are you now going to break up with 3 children? Do you have another chance with another man? Are you thinking about that? Yeah. Are you thinking about the future? Are you also thinking about the experience or the experiential knowledge that you've acquired, that now you know how to make good decisions?
That's true.
So you are no more experimenting. You are no more just going to say, I think I like this kind of guy and all of that, and you just go into it. But now, even with all those lists that you have, right, you still pay attention to something more essential. You're not so focused on non-essential. You are now focused on something essential. When you meet a guy, you know exactly what you're looking for. Okay. Have you analyzed that? See? And it's not the end of the road when you make a mistake.
It's not the end of the road.
It's not. It's not. So far as you have life, there is always going to be an opportunity to make the right decision. Okay. Always. When you wake up in the morning, there's an opportunity to make the right decision. I always say to people that, have you ever thought about what God saw in you that is so good that he wakes you up in the morning? Yeah. What is it that God has seen in you that he still wakes you up in the morning? It gets to a point where people get so old, no energy, that they just want to sleep and not wake up. Yeah. Because when they wake up, what are they going to do? But why do you wake up every morning with so much energy and with strength, and why? So don't waste it thinking about the past. Because you woke up in the morning because of today and tomorrow and then the next. Okay. So think about today. Think about the future. Dwelling on the past does not help in any way. In the Bible, 2 people did something that we will term to be very horrible. Okay. Betrayal, denial. Yeah. Judas betrayed Jesus. Sold him out for money. Yeah. Got the money. Was still not happy. Yeah. Felt horrible. Went back. Gave the money out to the people that gave him the money. And we are told that he killed himself. Another guy called Peter. Betrayed him.
Yeah.
He actually denied him 3 times. He did. 3 times. But Peter lived to be the head of the apostles.
Wow.
And Peter lived to do so much for God compared to Judas. Judas was a chosen person. And that is sometimes what betrayal, what mistakes can do. Mistakes don't only hurt you or make you broken and disappointed. Mistakes also love to make you feel guilty. So anytime you dwell on your mistake, you invite guilt into your heart. And that's the most horrible thing that you can ever do. In fact, it can drive you to kill yourself. And many times when people want to kill themselves, sometimes it's just because of guilt. Guilt can affect your mental health so much that you can come to the place of suicide. I mean, you just want to kill yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
And that is why you don't have to dwell on mistakes. Because, like I said earlier, the reason what you call mistake is basically just because you are disappointed in the outcome. And you don't have control over the outcome. Because even the people you think are having a good outcome don't have a good outcome until the end of time. I mean, how do I know if my marriage is not a mistake until we have died really and we were together forever? If after 5 years, after 50 years, let me put it that way, after 20 years of being together and we still don't end up together, am I going to say it's the marriage that was a mistake? I don't think it's the marriage that was a mistake. It was our daily decisions that were the mistake.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? It is the daily decisions that we made that were the mistake. And sometimes that is one of the things that we also forget. We think it is the relationship that was the mistake. It was the boy who was a mistake. But we forget that it is the daily decisions that we both made that was the mistake. If we get to a point where we don't forgive each other, if we get to a point where we are always quarreling with each other, if we get to a point where we don't trust each other, if we get to a point where we are not faithful to each other, it's definitely going to break. And when it breaks, it will seem to us that the whole thing was the mistake, but the whole thing was not the mistake. It was the daily decisions that were made. That were the mistake. And if it was the daily decisions that were the mistakes, then what you have to ask yourself right now is that what you're doing now is more of a mistake than the past. You see? Because yesterday's mistake and today's mistake is what is going to end up affecting tomorrow.
Wow. Amazing.
In a negative way.
Amazing.
See, so if you continue like that, then you are not only losing the guy you thought, or you are not only losing the job or the contract, but you are also losing the opportunity that lies ahead of you.
For tomorrow. Wow. Amazing. Pastor Emmanuel, but one thing I want us to dwell on is how people who have made those mistakes somebody is watching right now, the person says, okay, I'm coming out of it, I'll stop beating myself, I'm not going to blame myself, guilt go and everything. Sometimes what can happen is that I see fear in future decisions, because anytime there are some people, if the relationship didn't go well, the business didn't, lost everything, fortunes in businesses and other things. Now, anytime the person is about to take the next steps, the person is afraid. So how does someone who have made a mistake, approach life without fear of another mistake?
That's an interesting question, because the most difficult mistake to recover from is the mistake that violates people's trust. It's a tough place to be. When you make mistakes that break people's trust. Because when trust is broken, it's difficult to have it back. It could be in terms of business. When you have partners, in terms of management, in terms of leadership, in terms of marriage, in terms of relationship. When trust is broken, it's difficult to fix that. And so I always tell people that the best you can do is to acknowledge and apologize. But don't keep dwelling on that. Give trust time.
Give trust time.
To rebuild.
Okay.
Give trust time to rebuild.
Okay.
When you have hurt somebody, when you have done something that makes them feel broken in terms of their trust, don't force them to trust you.
Okay.
You know, apologize. Accept your responsibility in that.
Okay.
And give trust time to rebuild.
Okay.
You continue to do good.
Okay.
Continue to do what is expected of you.
Okay.
Trust will be rebuilt with time.
Okay.
But don't expect people to give you trust again. And this is something a lot of people do that it makes no sense. A guy can have extramarital affair and expect that so far as he has apologized, the wife should just trust him. And can even be mad that why don't you trust me? You broke it.
Yeah.
Give it time to rebuild.
Okay.
Because that's the thing about trust. But to come to your question on how do you also not do it again? Right?
Oh, you are afraid.
You are afraid that you will do it again.
What if the outcome comes like this guy, another guy has come into my life? What if he breaks my heart? Even though I've looked at all the signs, you know, or this business, like people, how does a person not approach life with fear of making mistakes?
When you find yourself in that situation, like I said, mostly it's just because something is broken. Something is broken, and it needs time to be rebuilt. So I always advise people who have been in that state not to rush into another agreement or relationship or partnership, whatever it is. Don't rush it. When you enter into another agreement or relationship or partnership with a broken trust, you're going to end up breaking the other one who came with a full trust.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's sometimes what makes this whole thing painful.
Yeah.
A good man, a good woman. The woman has been hurt. She comes with broken trust into the relationship, and now she doesn't trust the good man. No matter what the guy does, she just doesn't trust him.
Always suspicious.
And now the guy feels, why don't you trust me? And then now that relationship is over. So when it comes to people who are afraid that they will make that mistake, not those who are at the other side, who think that, well, they probably might hurt me, right? But when it comes to people who are afraid that they will make that mistake because they have done it before, you need to be able to understand that growth is more important than perfection.
Wow.
That's why we are not born perfect. We are born like babies. And then we have to crawl, and then we have to walk, and then we have to run. And now we can now sit here and talk. We were not born like this. Because growth is more important when it comes to the human life. Growth is more important than perfection. You are not God. You are not a God. You are a human being. And it's important for you to understand that growth is more important. Even to God, growth is more important than perfection. So you just saying that I made a mistake yesterday, so I'm afraid I'm going to do it, is not a problem. It's not a problem being afraid you're going to do it, but that fear should not stop you from doing it. Even if you have to do it out of fear, continue doing it. Because even if you fail the second time, you're going to do it again. And then you fail the third time, you're going to do it again till you succeed. Because that's the real thing about life. When a child is trying to walk, he falls for the first time, he gets up, he falls again. A child who is afraid to get up and walk because he fell the last time will never walk. But it's not in us.
That's amazing.
God put that thing in us that when we fall, we have to rise up and we have to continue. And this is to Christians. The Bible says that even when I fall 7 times, 7 times will I rise. So you don't have to ever think about your life in terms of your mistakes. Your mistakes don't define you.
Okay.
Now, because you failed does not make you a failure. You're a failure because you stopped trying. But because you tried and failed does not make you a failure. No, it doesn't.
Okay.
You can do it again. Even if you fail, do it again. Even if you fail, do it again. Because when you succeed, you are not a failure. You are only a failure not because you were trying. You are only a failure because you stopped. So even when you are afraid, do it. Even when you are afraid, do it. Continue. But that also does not mean do it the way you did it the other time.
Okay. Okay.
See? Because if you keep doing it the way you did it the other time, you're
receive
likely
the
to have
same
the same
outcome.
result.
Yeah.
So you must be able to understand the situation, like I said, and you must be able to grow from the situation.
Okay.
Your fall is meant to let you grow. The heartbreak is meant to let you grow.
Okay.
The betrayal is meant to let you grow. When you grow out of it, just continue. And this is one of the things that I'm also going to say, that sometimes people get so hard on themselves because they think God is hard on them. God is not.
Okay.
While they were killing Jesus, he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Now, the mindset of God is that you don't know what you do. When you know what you do, you will not do it. Doesn't mean that people's eyes were closed. They knew. They saw him. They killed him. But Jesus was talking about knowledge. Most of the things that we keep doing is because we lack knowledge. We lack truth. We think what we know is the truth, but it's not. And the day we find the truth, we will be free from them. Okay. And we will do what is right. So knowledge is important in every situation you find yourself. What have you learned from it? That's what is important to me. Sometimes I say this, that when Kofi grows, our son grows, one of the things that I always imagine doing is, what did you learn from it? I'm not interested in him being perfect. He doesn't have to be perfect. I'm only interested in what he's learning from the things he did or he does. And so far as you can have that kind of mindset in young people, they grow to be like that. But mostly, we don't have that upbringing. We never were trained to be like that. When you make a mistake, we beat you. So we cause you more pain when you have even made a mistake. And that's the main reason why a lot of people go through relationship that breaks and they are still hurting themselves. Why? Because we grew up in a society that will hurt you
when you make a mistake,
for being in a situation that is a mistake, that will encourage you to learn from it. But then also, let me also take it from the other side of people who are at the receiving end. Okay. Not those who are afraid to continue doing something, but those who have also been a victim of somebody's mistake and they're afraid that maybe another person is going to hurt them. Okay. That's the thing. Like, it's also a difficult experience, but it's also the same thing, same approach. Except that for you, you are not afraid to do it, but you are afraid that somebody's going to do it to you. And like I said earlier, when people are hurt, you need to give them time for them to heal. When trust is broken, you need to give trust time for it to be rebuilt. It's not something that you can jump the gun. You just need to go through the process. But that going through the process does not mean you need to rush into another thing. Because if you rush into a relationship with a half trust or a broken trust, because there's nothing like half trust, you are only going into a new relationship with no trust at all. And that means that relationship is going to hurt again. It's like a glass. When you have a glass and the glass hits the ground and it breaks, if you don't allow that glass to be swept and thrown out, right, and for a new one to be given to you, and you gather the glass, the broken glass, and you carry it in your arms and you want to give it to somebody, Whenever somebody takes it, that person is going to be hurt. But not only is he going to be hurt or she going to be hurt, you are also going to be hurt. Because you've been holding a broken glass all the time. And that's the problem with many people. They continue one relationship with something they've never healed from. And they are always having in their hands a broken trust. And a broken trust is actually a broken trust. There's nothing, it's not trust anymore. When a glass is broken, it's not a glass.
It's not a glass, yeah.
I mean, if it's a wine glass that is broken, it's no more a wine glass. Let me put it that way. It is a glass, but it's not a wine glass. Because it's broken. You can't take wine with it. And that's the thing with many people. So to be careful, take your time. Make sure that you have healed through that. And I've already showed you how you can be healed through the process. You need to be able to acknowledge it without blaming other people. Find your role in that. And when you have found your role in it, accept that responsibility. Learn from that. Learn from it. Because when you learn from it, your brain will automatically interpret the knowledge as gain. As gain. Great gain. And the moment your knowledge is interpreted as great gain, it will counteract that kind of brokenness which you feel like a loss. And when that happens, all of a sudden it brings relief to your soul. Because your inward man doesn't want to lose. It doesn't want to lose. That's true. That's the real thing. It doesn't want to lose. And because it doesn't want to lose, that's why you still feel hurt and broken. But the moment your inward man begins to feel like, I've gained. And I've already told you that there are 3 ways to look at your gain, not in terms of the material things, in terms of your knowledge, experience, and then the future, the opportunities that lie ahead of you. Those are your gains. And when you have been able to understand this, it kind of sets you free from anything. And I will end with this. God has already forgiven you. I said that Jesus said on the cross, that forgive them, for they know not what they do. And that liberates you from everything. In fact, even for yourself who feels broken because somebody did something to hurt you. You have to start acknowledging that people don't know what they do. They do. Even when they know what they do. I said that the people that killed Jesus saw it. They knew it. But Jesus said they didn't know it because they didn't have that knowledge. They did not know the truth. And it's the truth. I mean, they didn't know that truly he was the Son of God. They wouldn't have dared. Exactly. And sometimes people don't know you are good. They don't know how good you are. They just didn't know it. And that's why they did what they did. Sometimes so it's not really your loss. It's their loss. Because deep down, they didn't know that you are that good. And if they didn't know you are that good, why are you hurt? It's they that didn't know that they were good. They are at loss. So you forgive them anyway. Just the same way you need to acknowledge that God has forgiven you. That's why the Bible says that forgive them as your Father in heaven has forgiven you. It's a knowledge you should have, that people don't know what they do. So let it be. Amazing. Even when you feel hurt. Amazing. Let it be. Thank you so much, Pastor Emmanuel. I believe you, as I said from the beginning, you were up for something great and you can attest to it. Forgive yourself, forgive others. Focus on, allow room for growth. You are not perfect. You are not perfect. Do not dwell so much. Don't dwell on the mistakes. Don't dwell on everything. Don't beat yourself. Just come out of it. Focus on the 3 things that he mentioned: growth, knowledge, and the future. Thank you so much for making time to join. If you've not subscribed to my channel, do well to subscribe. Until we meet again on the next episode, it's bye for now.